25,000 teachers out of the classroom today, and from Chopper 2, you can see many of them marched in the loop.
Good news for parents through all of this. CPS schools are staying open during this strike. WGN's Gaynor Hall live for us tonight at the Bronzeville Classical Elementary School to show us how students spent the day inside. Gaynor?
Hi, Joe. Guided playtime, some computer time, but no classroom instruction time. And parents we talked with say they hope this strike does not last long.
This is us at the Bronzeville Classical School.
CPS school buildings were open today during normal hours.
CTU! CTU!
But with teachers on strike, there was no classroom instruction, and after-school activities were also canceled.
For me, it didn't go as bad. I was able to get off work in time and pick her up by 2:45. I'm hoping they work something out soon because I can't do it every day.
As part of the district's contingency plan, CPS administrative office workers were sent to schools to help out with staffing.
The one thing that I want to emphasize is Dr. Jackson has said repeatedly all CPS schools are going to be open. Those are going to be staffed by the building principal, the assistant principal, and other staff, non-union staff at the school. So when parents bring their kids there, they're going to still see a familiar, friendly face, so their kids will be safe.
Inside Bronzeville Classical, students spent some time jumping rope, playing basketball, and games.
We got to play for like most of the time, and we played on the computers for like 30 minutes and then had lunch.
Their parents are hoping this is resolved soon.
We need the teachers back in the classrooms and the kids, and I hope that the teachers need to get what they deserve.
Parks, libraries, and other community sites are also available for students during the strike. We've got a list posted at WGNTV.com/CPS strike. Reporting live tonight from Bronzeville, Gaynor Hall, WGN News.
CBS 2's Tara Molina caught up with some teachers who have been through this before, back when they walked out in 2012.
And Tara, they're telling you it's a very different strike.
Brad and Erica, they are saying that there's much more of a focus on working and learning conditions this time around. Conditions they say haven't been addressed for far too long. Rallying in red, thousands of voices heard outside CPS headquarters. One of them
for nurses in every single school.
Michelle Sufferdin, a Chicago public schools teacher of 16 years. She told us she's worked on every side of the city and has been through this once before.
It's a different time right now than it was in 2012. It's not quite as clear, I think, to everyone what exactly it is we're fighting for.
So she's clearing that up.
I am frustrated that it's so hard to staff schools, and I'm frustrated that the social worker who comes to help my students also goes to 2 other schools and sort of works out of his car. I'm frustrated that we don't have a school nurse, so a student who needs to get medication is sort of relying on less qualified people to make sure they get their medication. And I am frustrated that we don't cap class size in Chicago like we do in other districts in the state.
Passionate about her second graders at Belding Elementary, Michelle says they're the reason she's here today, the reason she'll keep making noise. Michelle told us that they only have a social worker in their school a couple of times a week, but Mayor Lori Lightfoot's team has committed to adding hundreds of social workers, nurses, and case managers to schools. Reporting live in the control room, I'm Tara Molina, CBS 2 News.
Now we head to CBS 2's Chris Ty. He spent the afternoon with some of those teachers. Chris.
Hey, Brad, this is where they jumped off today here at CPS headquarters. And beneath those red shirts and those Lightfoot insults are teacher demands. Most of us by now know the sticking points of salary and support staff. But the trickier subject that stumped even some of the savviest union workers today, class size.
We know it's a hardship.
Let us march!
And like thousands of her striking brothers and sisters, Miriam Ruiz knows every day away from the classroom compounds the stress on families and the trickle-down effects on education and athletics.
This is extremely difficult for us.
Shut it down!
But they march.
Get up! Get down! Chicago is a union town!
When we asked, though, a handful of these teachers what their demands are on class size, let's just say most didn't pass. first, for you, an answer key. The union is calling for a primary school class size reduction from 28 to 24 students. In high school, it would slide from 31 to 28 students max. And unlike past contracts, this would be enforceable.
I don't know what number it is that either side is hoping for. No.
I can't tell you a for sure number.
And that's going to depend on the grade, different from grades K through 3, grades 4 through 6, because all of those types of students have different needs.
While it's true different needs do require different class sizes, few answered this properly, like teacher Trisha Chmielinsky did.
I know that we were asking 24, 28 max, which I think is reasonable.
As the teachers ask for what they think is reasonable, fair contract. We figured it just as reasonable to make sure those trading the classroom for the picket line could answer why they're here in the first place.
CTU! CTU! Those teachers did know a lot about the salary and about the librarians and about the need for nurses. And while it was a joyous scene and kind of an exciting mood down here, the sense you got under the surface was these teachers wanted back in the classroom soon. For now, live at CPS headquarters tonight, Chris Ty, CBS 2 News.
Chris, thank you.
Out of CBS 2's Chris Ty. He spent the afternoon with teachers. Chris.
Brad, Erica, this is where they started that 3-hour march today. They had loud chants and big inflatables, but when it comes to the fine print of what these union members are marching for and fighting for, based on our small sample size, we found they knew the broad brush stuff, but were a little murky on the details.
What do you want? Fair contract! When do you want it? Now!
What we wanted now was some better clarity on their wants. By now, you've heard about the dollars.
It's not just about pay and benefits.
And you've heard about the staff bumps.
That includes nurses in the school, social workers.
But we wanted to know more about the other big sticking point.
Class size is a huge deal.
It's a huge deal that a huge number of strikers don't quite understand.
Now get up, get down. Chicago is a union town.
So let's get down under the hood of this. The union is calling for a primary school class size reduction, moving the cap from 28 to 24 students. In high school, it would slide from 31 to 28 students max. And unlike past contracts, this one would be enforceable. And while some teachers knew the nuts and bolts of it,
I know that we were asking 24, 28 max, which I think is reasonable.
most did not.
I can't tell you a for sure number.
And that's going to depend on the grade, different from grades K through 3, grades 4 through 6, because all of those types of students have different needs.
I don't know what number it is that either side is hoping for. No.
To be fair, they're paid to teach our kids science and Spanish, not contract negotiation. But for the teachers loudly and proudly demanding what's best for kids,
Get on the right foot.
laying out the details of that proved tricky.
The massive march started an hour late today, 2:30 instead of 1:30. They marched from here at headquarters to City Hall, down to Grant Park, wrapping up just about an hour ago. A huge chunk of downtown traffic during the midday was snarled, to say the least. For now, live at CPS headquarters tonight, Chris Ty, CBS 2 News.
All right, Chris, thank you. Even though Chicago schools were open today, some parents told CBS 2's Stephen Graves that wasn't an option for them.
Parents I spoke to said they didn't want to bring their children to school because they thought it would be an unproductive day, but that presents the challenge of making it productive, taking off work, and then wondering how long this is even going to last. Cindy Sedetz considers herself lucky.
Fortunately, I'm going to start Monday.
That's when she expects to start her new job, so she has another day to figure out what to do with her kids. Now, one of thousands of parents caught in the middle of the citywide teacher strike.
But I can understand how it would be a pickle for other parents.
She says her kids have no idea why they have a last-minute play day, but as the mom closely watches negotiations, she remains on the fence.
I understand that both sides are doing their best. I know it's nothing personal.
It's not so gray for Marguerite Barron.
We are completely in support of the strike.
She sees taking off work as a stance of solidarity.
I have 2 second graders here that, I'm trying to edutain.
That means teaching them the regular curriculum.
Oh, it's Jupiter. Good job.
And some lessons about strikes and real-life challenges.
I learned those lessons when I was in elementary school, and now my kids are learning, and I think it's an important lesson.
She's now making plans into next week as the future remains unclear.
It's all just contingency planning.
As parents watch, wait, and some grapple,
and it's hard,
with what could be in an agreement and when it will be reached. Stephen Graves, CBS 2 News.